So you must be wondering if you, like other people, watch TV and you see lawyers and you're like, oh, okay, she does this or he does that. Or at the same time, I didn't know lawyers could do this or that. Well, basically that's what this video is all about. Today I will be sharing with you the different career paths that lawyers can take upon graduation from law school. This is a highly requested video and I am glad to share it with you. So if you are new to this channel, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Annette. I release videos twice a week covering a wide variety of topics. I cover luxury, I cover lifestyle videos, I cover career videos as well, and self-improvement, a little fashion here and there. And if you are interested in any of those topics, be sure to join the family. Just hit the subscribe button and also hit the notification button as well so you can get notified whenever I upload videos. And follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is itsannette. And enough of the housekeeping stuff. Now let's go back to the video. So, you graduated from law school, or you're thinking about going to law school, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what your career path is going to be all about. You probably don't want to do the linear litigation, or maybe you do want to do that, or you're wondering, okay, what can I do in between jobs, or how can I get myself situated as an attorney in a way that matches with my goals and my desires and my overall outlook in life. Maybe you're a lawyer who wants to only work a couple of days a week, you don't want to work 24/7, or maybe you are someone who's thinking of going into public service, going into government and trying to figure out how you can help people and how you can be of service. There's so many routes you can take as an attorney. No one is greater than the other. Now, of course, some pay more than others, like how you have your 5 fingers, they're not all equal, right? Different routes, in your education, different routes in your career can take you to different destinations. So the first route I'll be discussing today is the litigation route. That's what I do. I'm a litigator. Many times in life I've said I don't want to do this anymore, and sometimes I still feel as though I don't want to do it anymore, but it's what I'm doing. I can make an argument that I'm good at it, but what it entails is you go into court pretty much, often. Right? You're going to court for conferences, you're going to court to submit papers, you're going to court for oral arguments, you're going to court to meet with a judge and get a schedule together, and then you go back to the office at the end of your court appearance in the day, and then you either work on a motion, you work on a memo, or you work on a discovery letter. Basically, you engage in a process of litigation. You sue people or you defend someone who's being sued. You go back and forth, you argue back and forth all the time, you send requests for XYZ documents, you get them back and you feel like they're not enough, you send another request, you send a letter, you have phone conferences, you have settlement conferences, you have in-person conferences. That's what you see when you watch shows like Boston Legal, which I believe is the best legal show ever, Ally McBeal, Suits, and other shows that I can't think about right now. But yeah, Joan Clayton in Girlfriends was a litigator, so that gives you an idea of what that character did or what she does in a fictional world. So when people think of lawyers, that's the first thing they think. And now litigators are arguably the most stressed out lawyers compared to all other lawyers. There's no easy route in your legal journey, but some routes are more stressful than others, if you know what I mean. So litigation comes with anxiety, comes with high stress, comes with potential for making a good living if you work at a good law firm or a big law firm, or if you work at a small law firm and you're able to cash bonuses or commission payments. Basically, that's the very first thing people think about when they say lawyers, litigators, and that's what litigators do. The second route you can take as an attorney is you can be in public service. Now this includes people who work in the courthouses for judges. So judges have a staff of attorneys working for them, right? Anywhere from 2 to 5. Federal judges usually have about 3. State judges usually probably have about 1 or 2. Usually about 1, and then there's an intern. You write your briefs, you meet with the attorneys, you conference the cases. You don't have any caseload on your own. You basically work what's on the judge's docket. That's what you do. Now, a lot of people clerk full-time. A lot of people clerk as internships in while they're in law school, while other people clerk after law school. I know someone the other day, I was at a conference with a judge, and the conference was handled by his clerk, and his clerk went to the same law school as I did, and he worked in private practice for a very long time and decided to go to the public sector and work for a judge. So that's something else you can do. Obviously, I would say obviously the pay there is quite capped, but then you're making a difference. Not like you're not making a difference in, you know, litigation. Litigation, you take a case to trial. Only 5% of cases actually get tried in litigation. 95% of them get settled at some point before the inception of the case, which in what we call a pre-litigation letter, pre-litigation action, or anywhere all the way down to the day the trial has begun, or 2 or 3 days into the trial. But when you're working in public service, that's not a concern. So you just do what you have to do, work in the judge's docket, handle the cases. Sometimes you may write the opinions, or you definitely read the briefs, and you may have to give the judge your opinion or do some legal research to help the judge decide in either way, or, you know, just handle his tasks basically. On the other hand, as a public servant, you can work in city agencies. So I'm talking about New York City Commission of Human Rights, or, you know, New York City Civil Service Commission, which is where I worked when I was an intern. Or you can work at, you know, anywhere. There's so many agencies. You know, there's the DOL, there's OSHA on the federal level. There's, I mean, I can't even think about New York City Commission. New York City Commission of Human Rights, I already said that. New York City TLC Commission. There's New York City Department of Labor, I already said that. New York City Consumer Affairs. There's so many agencies. I think in New York there are about 25 agencies. You can work there as an attorney. You do sometimes may get a lawsuit brought against you, and then you may have to defend. But New York City Law Department, Corporation Counsel, basically is the group of attorneys that handle the litigation for all other agencies. I also worked there for a short period of time as well. And then you get to do a lot, because your client is not necessarily one person. Your client is the agency, and you're defending the agency. So, and this is just New York, because that's the state that I'm licensed to practice law in. That's all I know, so that's what I'm talking about. But the same principle applies to Tennessee, or Minnesota, or, you know, Texas, or Alabama. Each state has several state agencies, and attorneys do have positions there as well. And depending on the requirement, or depending on the nature of the agency, your job duties will be tied to fostering the goals of that agency. You may or may not litigate, but if at all you do litigate, it'll be on a really small basis and really low basis, maybe about 5 cases a year, or 10. I could be wrong, but for the most part, litigation is left for the litigators. Another route you can take as an attorney is going the in-house route. Actually, that was one of the things that made me want to go to law school, because when I was working as an HR rep, when I graduated undergrad, I worked with in-house counsels, and I got to understand what the job function is. Basically, they are the attorneys for a corporation or a company. And a big corporation like JP Morgan probably has about 20 to 35 in-house counsels, while a small corporation may have just 1 or 2. They may or may not handle the litigation for the company, because the company may have an insurance policy for litigation, which requires outside counsel, outside litigators to handle the legal action. But the in-house corporate counsel helps direct, oversee, and supervise the litigation. The in-house counsel provides guidance in regard to compliance with federal and state, not just employment laws, but, you know, banking laws, regulation laws, compliance laws. The in-house counsel also oversees the hiring and firing to an extent, oversees other corporation documents. So it's very, you know, it's like the entire company is your client. So everything you're doing is focused on and for the betterment of the company. So that actually is one route that I've been trying to get into. Like, my dream job would be to be an in-house counsel at Richemont or Chanel. So guys, if you guys are watching, I'll send you my resume. Check out my LinkedIn. I'm available. It's kind of like what I want to do when I grow up. Jokes aside, now as far as earning, you do make good money as an in-house counsel. You may not be able to make as much as you would have made had you stayed in litigation. That's because you're not billing on an hourly basis as you would have been billing if you are a defense attorney, and then you have the opportunity to get a bonus, or if you're a plaintiff's attorney and you settle that big old $1 million case. But as an in-house counsel, you can also have the options of having shares or stocks of the company. So that's another avenue you make money as well. Your hours are better, they still work you hard, but not as crazy as you will work when you are a litigator. where you're expected to work weekends if you work at a big firm and work to late nights. I've been at work till 2 a.m. in the morning before. I've worked all through Saturday and Sunday. I hated it, but I've done it. As a public service employee working for the courts or working for a city agency, you get to work at 9:30 or 10 and you're done at 4:30. So also they don't really earn a lot. They earn, you know, a decent amount obviously, but nothing substantial as compared to, you know, litigators or in-house counsel. Another route you can go, which is the route less traveled, is more of being a legal consultant, and that's where you think of people like Olivia Pope, where you have a law degree, you've practiced before, you understand the ins and outs of a law firm, of litigation, but then you don't litigate per se. You provide guidance, you provide counsel to clients using your legal background or using your legal education. It's a very gray area. It's not a route a lot of people take just because it's not a guaranteed source of income. You have to probably tie yourself, like Olivia Pope did, to a PR firm or to like a brand marketing firm or something that can give you the avenue to earn or to have a steady flow of income. But that's also another route people take. Something else you can be, which is something that I've considered doing maybe down the line after I've had kids and I'm trying to have a more balanced schedule, is being a per diem attorney. Per diem basically means you are, you know, like an independent contractor. You work with many law firms and then you just go to court every day to handle your cases. So you're a litigator, but they're not your cases. You charge the attorneys anywhere from $15 to $200 per appearance per case. So you go to court, you're the attorney for that plaintiff or that defendant at that time, handle what needs to be handled, send a report to the client, who's the law firm you're associated with or the law firm you have a contract with, within 24 hours, letting them know exactly what happened in court the day of, and then you're prepping for court the next day. You get another appearance notification that, okay, well, this other case is going on, and then you tend to have more clients, more law firms that you work with. So you could, per diem attorneys sometimes have anywhere from 2 to 30 cases in one day. And literally in the courtroom, they're jumping from one case to another, handling a conference here, going to have oral arguments here, and, you know, requesting for submissions here, handing in documents here, doing so many things. It's a very fast turnaround, but you have no connection or real interest in the work that's been done apart from making sure you don't screw anything up so you don't get sued personally or on behalf of the company or something like that, and then you have to trigger malpractice provisions. It's a very fast-paced type of work, but you can really get to work. By work, I mean court. You can really get to court at 9:30 or 9 o'clock, be done at 12, send your reports, be done at 2. And then you have like 4, 5, 6 hours where you can just hang around, you know, hang at home or doing whatever it is you're doing. And then later in the evening, you get notified by other clients that, hey, I have this court appearance coming up tomorrow, can you handle this? Are the details and this is what I want you to do. And then you start prepping for the next day again. And also, per diem attorneys are given a lot of leeway. Can't count how many times I've been in front of a judge and I'm arguing something and my opposing counsel is a per diem and she's like, I don't know, I really don't know the fact of the case, I'm just here. And the judges are quite sympathetic to per diems, except one particular judge who I know is quite, let's just say, not very friendly when it comes to per diems. And yeah, and I can understand why, because it's like their expectations are lower for them. They don't have to worry about knowing the case or knowing the history behind the cases. They're just there to get the work done for like the 10-minute appearance and just keep it moving. But they have the potential to earn a lot of money, and they can calculate virtually how many hours they want to work in a week and figure out how much money they can make. So that's another route that's very sustainable. Another route you can take as an attorney is the route of being a document reviewer, which is also called electronic discovery. There's some people who are career document reviewers. You can be a document reviewer at a law firm associated with that law firm, or you could be a document reviewer through different agencies. I've done doc review before. Basically, you're sitting in front of a computer, usually like a huge case involving maybe, I'm just throwing this out there, maybe like Sony or a huge pharmaceutical company, and you have to go through, when I tell you there are tons of thousands of documents that you have to review that are saved in an electronic format, and you have to review those documents to look for pertinent information, information that has been highlighted, information that's relevant to an ongoing litigation or a proposed litigation. And you're sitting there clicking through and you're making notes, and If you feel like one document is responsive to a request, you have to explain why, you have to follow through, and you have to flag those documents and turn around and give a report at the end of the day. Now, document review attorneys technically don't make much, but you can make a lot if you work overtime hours. Because if they have 100,000 documents they need to review by the end of the week, and you've reviewed 65,000, and you need to review the rest 35,000? Yes, 35,000, you have to work through the weekend. And if you're doing that, they're going to pay you overtime. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But you can also figure out your hours with doc review. I've done doc review before, intermittently, and with a firm directly, and also through an agency. It was helpful. I felt like that was the time I was the most at peace in my entire profession, but I also felt like that was a time that I probably wasn't using as much of my legal brain, if you will, except when I had to write reports or when I had to argue why documents were responsive and other documents were not. So that's another area that a lot of women, after having children, and because of the constraints and requirements of litigation or in-house, they're just not able to follow through with all of those. They tend to fall back to doc review, and then they can go to work from 8 to 4 and be done and go home to take care of the kids and don't have to worry about deadlines or summary judgment motion or discovery motions or court appearances. Like, I'm sitting here now making this video. It's a Sunday, but at the back of my mind, I know I have a conference with a judge tomorrow. She's quite mean, so I'm pretty sure she's going to yell at me, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what can I do differently? How can I prevent this? Blah, blah, blah. When you're in doc review, you don't have that. Usually when you're in public service, you also don't have that. When you're in litigation, you're at work thinking about going home so you can take a nap and go, like, just go to sleep. But then you're at home sleeping and you're dreaming about work. So it's an entire different ballgame when it comes to litigation. Another thing you can do as an attorney is you can also be a legal recruiter. You can work with a legal recruiting firm to help recruit other attorneys. You're obviously not practicing law, but your understanding of the law, and if you've practiced before, will help you create a job posting and sift through clients who may have the requisite skills. Now, legal recruiting doesn't pay as much unless you're able to fill a long-term position in a firm. So if you're able to fill a long-term position at a firm, then you can possibly get like 10 to 20% of their salary as a bonus, maybe like 6 months after they've been working in. So if you fill a position for someone whose annual salary is $100,000, then 6 months after they've been in that position, you can probably get a bonus of $20,000, which is like 20% of their annual salary. So that's another way you can make money there. But the overhead is usually low, so they usually start out at about 60 or 65, and then that's why they're incentivized. It's more like a marketing thing. They're incentivized to find better candidates and place candidates in positions that will be fruitful to them, and then obviously overall better for the company. And then the last route you can take as an attorney, which is like obvious because everyone knows that, is you can teach. Some people go straight from law school and they start teaching. Actually, one of my well-renowned professors in law school who basically put the fear of God in me with regard to criminal law and understanding the importance of a comma and a semicolon while reading the statutory regulation. He only clerked for a judge for 1 year after graduation from law school, and he's been teaching. So that's done, that's fine. I have friends who I went to law school with who actually, after working in litigation for a couple of years, they started teaching. Teaching is not personally my thing. I did teach as a substitute teacher when I was, in college, and that's about it. Even when I have kids, like, hubby's probably gonna handle the homework, I don't really care much about teaching, but it's a route people take. My contract professor in law school, she was the very first and possibly only black professor, female professor I had in law school. And she'll come to class with her Birkin and her Louboutins and her Hermes scarf, and she was so smart. And she had worked at a law firm for 3 years after she graduated and decided to go to teaching so she can have a better schedule and so she can have, focus on her family and her children. And she's still making it. Matter of fact, she was just honored recently for a book that she wrote that got published by a publishing house that is related or not related, affiliated with the New York Times. So it was a big deal for her. And teachers are very, they play very pivotal roles in our professional development and in our career. So it's one that you definitely shouldn't take lightly. So if you're a young attorney and you're trying to figure out how you can navigate through your career, what the highs and the lows are with regard to different career paths you can take, then I hope this video was helpful for you. If you are exploring the possibility of going to law school but you're not sure what career path you should take, what route pays the most or pays the least, and how you can balance all those concerns with being, whatever is important to you, if it's having a family or being around your family or traveling, then I hope this video is also helpful. If you're just wondering what lawyers do and the different kinds of tasks lawyers can embark on that will get them paid and how their career path morphs from one place to another, then this video is also helpful for you. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, and I hope on some level you found this video helpful. And I'll catch you guys in my next video. Be sure to leave a comment below to let me know what you think, if you have any other questions, and what your general thoughts or conceptions about the different legal paths attorneys can take are. Just leave a comment below and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye guys.